Matt Ryan here on the road with us, and let's talk a little bit about Patrick Mahomes and maybe what the Chiefs should do with their star QB, of course, because they've clinched the division. They still want that #1 overall seed in the AFC, but they play this Saturday. Then they play on Wednesday. What's the smart play here? Do you sit them to the playoffs or what?
I mean, if it was me, I would sit him. I think it's most important to have him healthy for the playoff stretch. And, you know, ankles are tough. I know he's done it in the playoffs before, kind of played through that, played really well with it. But those were playoff games. And so I look at this regular season. They've got the 2-game lead in first place in the AFC. They've got these 2 games back-to-back. Maybe you can get him back for Week 18, get a little rhythm heading into the playoffs. But, you know, we'll see what the extent of the injury is, how he heals on it the next couple of days. But I'd have no qualms about getting him some rest and making sure that he's healthy. Because in my opinion, you got to have him as fresh as possible if you want to make a run towards their 3rd Super Bowl.
Matt, the good thing is that he's dealt with this throughout his career, and he's won some Super Bowls on some bad legs before with those high ankle sprains. I'm curious, at the QB position, his mobility and what he does, is that a big impact for him, and how could that affect them down the road?
I mean, he's done it before, right? He was incredibly impressive on that same ankle, right ankle, high ankle sprain that he had prior to it during that playoff run. I think it's difficult when it is that back foot because a lot of stepping into throws, driving into throws, at the top of drops, being able to escape is always, you know, tough to navigate that space. But, you know, he's Patrick Mahomes, right? This guy has proven us wrong in every time that anybody has doubted him, and he's performed at an incredibly high level. So I would be cautious with it, though. I really would. I just don't find any upside to him playing the next 2 weeks.
If you're being cautious, because I want to play on that a little bit, Matt, and you're resting him, do you feel comfortable with the Chiefs possibly having to see the Bills later in the postseason? Because, you know, if they don't have that #1 seed and say, you know, the Bills continue on that trend, you got to go into Buffalo. Do you feel confident with Mahomes, a little hobble, going into that type of environment?
I mean, you'd love to have the home field advantage, but to me, I'd rather have Patrick Mahomes healthy. You know, regardless of where you're playing, I'd rather have him, you know, as healthy as he can possibly be in that type of situation. So I think there's multiple concerns for the Chiefs right now. You know, talking about move Tooney to left tackle, kind of stabilized that yesterday. We'll see how that holds up. Kicking issues, Harrison Butker kind of going down a couple different times. There's levels for concern, but the ultimate one for me is the health of Patrick Mahomes. I think that's more important than home field advantage.
So you look home field advantage in the AFC. Brandon mentions the Bills. You talk about the Chiefs, but overall the conference of the AFC. Outside of those two, who do you maybe feel confident about? How do you really view this conference as it stands right now?
My gut is that it's 3 teams. You know, I really feel like it's Kansas City, it's Buffalo, and I think Baltimore has enough firepower if Lamar gets hot to really make a run. I think the Steelers lost yesterday. You know, it's just one loss. It's against very good Philadelphia team. But I got questions about, you know, are they good enough offensively to go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs or the Bills? The rest of them, I think, are maybe a year or 2 away, right? You got the Broncos, who what they've done this year is awesome. I think really impressive. Same for the Texans. I feel like they've kind of been treading water the last, you know, 2 months of this season. And I feel like the Chargers are going backwards a little bit. So I view the AFC right now, at least in my view, those 3 teams. And I think they all have a chance. You know, it's going to be about who gets hot during January.
Speaking of treading water and going backwards, we saw that with the Colts yesterday. We saw in the graphic they were in the hunt. The biggest thing and takeaway, the Jonathan Taylor fumble right before the goal line. I mean, Matt, we've seen this. You've seen this over your career. Multiple guys have done this. You know, this has happened maybe, what, a span of 10 to 15 years. You can go all the way back to Deshaun Jackson. But the fact that JT maybe flipped this one because it was 24 answered by the Broncos, how did that hurt their chances of getting into the postseason?
I mean, it was huge. And I love Jonathan, a former teammate of mine, one of the best teammates you'll ever play with, just, you know, incredibly unselfish and all these things, but just you know, what are we doing, right? Like, you know, you see this stuff, and the margin for error in this league is so slim. And to have stuff like that where you're taking points off the board, it just, you can't do it. He knows it. I mean, all these players know it, but we got to stop this, right? This is professional football. Get in the end zone, move on with your life, keep going.
Is there any way that you can even just grasp in your mind why this happens and how it happens? Because we do see it week after week, and yet there's no solution.
I don't know, man. I was never in the open field running in like that easy, so it was never it was never really in my wheelhouse to be walking into the end zone like that from long distance. But it's just it's easing up, right? It's like taking your foot off the gas or just kind of letting go for a second, and you just can't do it. You can't have this kind of stuff because the impacts of it are so great, right? It's hard to score points in this league when you have it. You've got to finish, and just it's hard to watch from a fan, perspective. Watching these things, it's hard to watch.
Well, Matt, you hold on to that rock. Don't you fumble, because we got more to talk to you about there. But there are some key matchups we want to watch in the AFC leading into this weekend, taking a look at it, because, boy, there's some big ones on the table. Starting Thursday night, right in that division with the Broncos and Chargers. Of course, the Chargers looking to bounce back, but the Broncos doing their part to get to 9 wins. And the Texans, and the big question mark, Patrick Mahomes, if he's able to play Saturday, or will they rest him at 13-1 with that also #1 seed in the conference? Then right in the same division, the AFC North, the Steelers trying to run it back and sweep the Ravens. Maybe this season now at 4:30. We'll see that one on Saturday. Both of those, of course, right before we get to Sunday for Week 16. Time for Fresh Takes, presented by Fresh Pet. It's not dog food, it's food, and Matt Ryan is still here, and we're going to nibble on some a little bit here. Let's get down to business here, Matt, because that NFC playoff picture, maybe the top 3, the Lions, Eagles, and Bucks, 2 of the 3 making a statement on Sunday. How do you kind of shake out how this might be, towards the end of the season between these 3?
About the AFC just before, right? Like, I thought it was 3 teams. I think the NFC's wide open. I really do. You talk about Philly. I think they're probably, given their health, given the way the defense is playing, they're running the football. The passing game was better. I think they're probably, the clear top of the division or of the conference. But Detroit, I think too many injuries on the defensive side of the ball, and the decision-making from Dan Campbell, I think, speaks to his lack of confidence, in his defense. But I really think Minnesota's a quiet team that I think could make a push. The defense is playing really well. Offense is explosive. They can beat you with the run game. They can beat you with the pass game. The Bucks are playing good football right now. They're gritty. They're tough. Baker seems to have kind of that chip on his shoulder and finding ways to make plays. I think the Rams are coming on. They're healthy. They're playing some of their best football. I think Matthew Stafford has a run in him where he can play some excellent football. And then the Packers, to me, are another team. Like, they play good defense. They take the football away on the defensive side of the ball. I think Jordan Love, if he gets hot, if he goes on a run, they've got enough pieces on the offensive side of the ball. I could see any one of those teams making a run and winning the NFC.
The Packers, of course, getting it done against Seattle. I'm curious about when it comes to the Seahawks. They're 8-5 on the outside looking, or 8-6, I should say. But Geno Smith, we don't know what the outcome of this knee injury might be. How might that impact their chances of trying to get into one of those spots?
I thought before him even going down, I thought the Rams had the best chance to win the division, given how the schedule shakes out, given that they play each other Week 18. I think it becomes incredibly difficult to overcome if Geno's not able to play, because Sam Howell comes in. Sam Howell just, in my opinion, just not the same type of player that Geno Smith is. But I think it's the Rams' division to win. I think the health of their team, the way their wide receivers are playing, the quarterback, the head coach, I think they've got the best bet to go win the NFC West.
Yeah, and Vegas agreeing with you there, putting their odds at -145 to win that NFC West. And let's keep it with the NFC because, of course, Matt, You were in Detroit yesterday, you and the NFL Today crew, and the last time we saw you guys take the show on the road, we went to Buffalo, you were jumping on the tables. Switched it up a little bit for us yesterday, and maybe instead of providing bodily harm to yourself by falling, you're just knocking some things out here on the knockout meter. How did you feel about this performance? You put up like that 760 something, 767. Did you put up your best effort there, or did you leave something out there?
I mean, clearly I should have swung harder. Nate and JJ went after me. I felt like I gave it a pretty good punch, good form, kept it tight, kept it inside. But, yeah, not strong enough. Kind of unfair when you're going against JJ Watt. That guy's he's just an absolute monster. And thank you for throwing that picture up there again. I love that one that we continue to use from that photo shoot from way back when. I like JJ's. Coach Cower in the old Pro Bowl shirt right there. The only one that's half decent right there is Nate Burleson. That's messed up that you guys gave us those 3 picks.
We have no controls of the graphic, just so you know.
I mean, I'm going back to it's Tully again. I'm done with this.
Exactly.
That's not the only thing we have because, speaking about going the distance here, this is a beautiful thing. You remember this. Look at this. This happened not too long ago. Look at Matt Ryan doing his best. Lamar Jackson. Look at that. The freaky legs of Matt Ryan. Tell us about this, Matt.
Where is everybody? That's what I was wondering the whole time I was running. Where is everybody? But as I like to say, put some respect on my name, boys. That was a pretty good run. I didn't have enough pace. My bad. But put a little respect on the name there.
Is that like what? Is that 4.2 speed? Like what were we seeing right there?
I'm not. That might have been 5.2 speed. Right there.
Yeah, it is.
I saw some bursts. I saw some wiggle there.
But put some respect on my name too. Hey, it's good enough.
That's all right, man.
You got it. That is, by the way, for folks at home.
That's a 39-yard run in the NFL.
I was gonna say your longest rush of your career, and that was the last year in the league, showing off those legs. Mm-hmm. Well done. Well done.
That's right. Finally, a good clip.
Respect, yeah. We got you.
Matt Ryan is always giving it to us on a Monday. Appreciate it, Matt, for hanging out with us, our QB1 in the building. You can catch him per usual on Sundays at noon Eastern, hanging with the fellas. NFL Today, always getting you ready. Week 16 around the corner. I think they're going to be inside. No rain or no cold weather this time, but you can catch it on CBS.